Many thoughtful people do not believe that we can teach the future. It hasn't happened yet, they say. It doesn't exist, and it's impossible to predict what will happen. All of that's true. Nevertheless, graduate programs and training courses in future studies and strategic foresight are springing up all over the world. The University of Houston alone, where I was the program director for 30 years, has graduated over 200 professional futurists and taught hundreds of others in its certificate program. We can teach the future. In fact, we've been doing it for 50 years. But these are all adults. Shouldn't we share these skills with students as well? But how can we teach the future when we can barely predict what will happen next week, much less 10 or 20 years from now? The trick is not to predict what will happen, which is impossible, but what could happen. We teach what if in addition to what is and what was. It's called critical thinking. Being able to think about plausible alternative futures, not just the one we expect to happen. Isn't that really how the future is? There are many futures today rather than just one. The future is plural, not singular. Even though we cannot tell which scenario will actually occur, we can know many of the ones that could. Prudent people always prepare for multiple contingencies, whether it's going on a trip or buying insurance. Shouldn't we teach our students to think contingently as well? And not just about how things could go in the short term, but how things could be in 10 or 20 years. But teaching about the future is not just about describing what could happen, but influencing it as well. It is about choosing what we want to happen and exerting our time and talent to make it so. Were the future predictable, the outcomes would already be decided, and it would be futile to try and influence them. But the uncertainty in the long-term future gives us the opportunity to influence those outcomes. Describing alternative futures and empowering students to influence them form the core of learning about the future. We at Teach the Future believe that every student in high school, in college, and in professional schools should be taught how to think about the future and how to act to change it.
You have to predict multiple different outcomes for the future and plan for all of them.
These are skills necessary for success at work as well as for life in general.